Pop Culture Junkie is taking a short break. Until we return, enjoy our We Love the 2010s series again, or for the very first time. We'll be back soon with all new episodes.
Pop Culture Junkie is bringing you a special 5-part series celebrating the best of the 2010s. Let's face it, the last decade was a rough one, but thanks to pop culture, we got through it. On this episode of We Love the 2010s, the Pop Culture Junkies look back at the years 2014 and 2015.
2014 is the year that gave us these important questions. Did you participate in the fappening, or are you a good person? How much did you raise for the Ice Bucket Challenge? What's your favorite Adele Dazeem performance? Pop Culture Junkie presents
We Love the 2010s!
The movies, the music, the television, the technology,
The trends, the memes.
We Love the 2010s.
So entertain me right now.
We were happy pretending to be other people. We were the happiest couple we knew. And what's the point of being together if you're not the happiest? But Nick got lazy. He became someone I did not agree to marry. He actually expected me to love him unconditionally. Then he dragged me, penniless, to the navel of this great country and found himself a newer, younger, bouncier, cool girl. You think I'd let him destroy me and end up happier than ever? No fucking way. He doesn't get to win.
Gone Girl was the messy breakup movie of 2014, making a lot of people glad they weren't married.
Gone Girl came out right before everyone started hating Ben Affleck, right? When he and Jennifer Garner split up in 2015. So I feel like it was still cool to like Ben Affleck at this point. I remember looking up the plot of Gone Girl and trying to debate whether or not I was going to go see it, and then spoiling myself on the ending and deciding hard pass. Like, I don't want any part of that.
Gone Girl is based on a book by Gillian Flynn about a woman who fakes her disappearance and then frames her own husband for it. It starred Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, Tyler Perry, and Neil Patrick Harris.
I remember going to see it in theaters with my mom and 2 sisters, and my mom immediately covering my eyes at the Neil Patrick Harris scene because I was obviously a little young at the time.
I remember seeing this movie and loving it, but being very uncomfortable and kind of itchy the whole time, especially during that, spoiler alert, ending scene with Neil Patrick Harris. Oh my goodness. Never saw MPH the same again after that.
I don't know. This just sounds like a Lifetime movie on steroids to me.
What's amazing, though, is that you wrote that song thinking somebody else would sing it, but then nobody wanted to sing it. The story goes.
Once the skinny part line came and the other stuff, we kind of giggled and looked at each other and said, no one's going to cut this song. No one will sing this. We'll never make a dime off this. So it's kind of hilarious that it started my artist career, and it's one of the biggest songs right now. So it's huge. It's crazy.
All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor was the body positivity anthem we needed in 2014 and was Meghan Trainor's debut single.
This was a song that I was twerking to that made me very happy.
I myself have no bass, and so could not relate, but I sang it as though I very much had some bass.
Yeah, I didn't really know at the time what she was talking about. I thought she just meant like the bass in her music.
She was not talking about the bass in the music. She was talking about the bass in her pants.
As I got older, realized what she was talking about and give her all the credit for that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, he wouldn't pick up your phone. I thought you got SVU'd.
No, dude, I'm fine. I just lost my phone. And remember that hot dude at the bar was supposed to text me, so now I'm like never gonna hear from him again.
Oh my God, you should use the Find My Phone app. I watch myself run around the city all the time on it.
Oh, okay, well, we'll just do that. There's my phone. I knew it was stolen. Okay, it's in Harlem.
Great, let's go track it down.
No, wait. It's moving south. It's in the Upper East Side. Dude, I don't want to go there.
In 2014, we took a trip to Broad City, which starred Alana Glazer and Abby Jacobson as 2 women trying to make it work in New York City.
It aired for 5 seasons through 2019.
It was on Comedy Central, but it grew out of a webisode series into a full-fledged sitcom.
It was like a funnier, more surreal Sex and the City.
Yeah, this is kind of like that bromance, but with like women. What is that, like a galmance?
I thought Broad City was hilarious. It kind of made fun of feminists, but in a way that feminists really liked and were relating to. And it also taught you how to store marijuana in your vagina.
Yeah, I was sad that it was over so soon, because now I've watched Alana Glazer on Elmo's World, and so it's kind of a strange connection.
They're both hilarious, and as a fellow clinic escort, I related to so many of those scenes of them. You just need to get high, man.
You're going to be shivering soon. You know, we're almost ready for the Ice Bucket Challenge that's been sweeping the nation, going viral.
The Ice Bucket Challenge was the viral video sensation in the summer of 2014.
Yeah, celebrities would challenge each other, and it was always kind of fun seeing like what new video was going to come out.
It raised money for ALS, aka Lou Gehrig's disease, and people were dumping ice buckets on them to spread awareness and raise money.
My favorite part of the Ice Bucket Challenge, beyond obviously raising money for charity, was getting to see wet celebrities, especially some of these guys. Oh, whoops, this entire bucket of ice cold water is all over my abs now.
I was never actually challenged to do the Ice Bucket Challenge, but my high school counselor was. So the whole school just went out into our courtyard and she did it in front of everyone. And we were able to have our phones out and record her. And I still have the video to this day.
The high school I was at the time, we did like a giant Ice Bucket Challenge with a group of like 100 students doing it all at the same time.
Oh, and the money was able to help lead to an important breakthrough in discovering a cure.
It raised $220 million, which is a lot of money. So doing something this crazy helped a great cause.
The good old days when challenges were just wholesome challenges for good causes.
My favorite thing to come out of the Ice Bucket Challenge was actually getting to meet a guy named Anthony Carbajal, who is a photographer. He went on Ellen's show and he had just been diagnosed with ALS. And so none of the effects had really started to set in yet, but his mom had been suffering from ALS for many years. And I started following him on social media, and the disease has progressed. He's wheelchair bound. He's largely immobile without the help of his wheelchair and in-home care, but he still does photography. He still gets out around the streets and interviews people and is just doing amazing stuff. And so I've really enjoyed following him and learning a lot about ALS kind of firsthand from him. And you can find him on Instagram, Anthony Carbajal Photo.
Tonight, the FBI is on the case, and they are warning big companies in America to protect their data after a big Hollywood studio got hit by hackers and several blockbuster movies ended up online, most of them before they've even hit theaters.
2014 was a year of hacks. Sony Pictures had all their information hacked by what was suspected to be agents in North Korea, partly in retaliation for the James Franco, Seth Rogen movie The Interview, which poked fun at Kim Jong-un, and the hackers wanted Sony to withdraw the movie.
Oh my God, I remember this. And I recently watched an interview with Seth Rogen where he talked about the fallout from this movie and how much of it had to be heavily edited in order to even have it released in the slightest. And there's a scene in the end where, spoiler, Kim Jong-un dies. And the original sequence is an explosion. And Seth Rogen says that the entire face just melts it off and peels off in a pile of goo. And he basically is down to a skeleton. If you watch the version that's released now, they completely edit out his entire death scene and an explosion blocks his face.
I do remember just how unique it was that it was coming out as a digital release only. And it's so funny now in 2021 to think about that and how many movies come out just digitally. And it's not like a death sentence like it was kind of back then. Like I remember it being like, ooh, we haven't seen this before. What's going to happen and who's going to watch it? And now it's the norm. So in a way, it almost kind of set a trend.
Yeah, back then it felt like you were watching like a dirty film. Ooh, we're going to download The Interview and watch it. I hope no one finds out.
And from this hack, data that was released included information about salaries at the studio and information about upcoming films and just major gender pay gap. It just spread light on a lot of issues that were happening.
There were a ton of emails that were leaked, including one where an executive called Angelina Jolie a minimally talented, spoiled brat. Racist comments about Obama, which is awful. But on the bright side, we got to find out that Spider-Man was going to be shared by Sony and Marvel, so that's kind of cool.
Now to the red hot mugshot. You know how I feel about it. That is shot around the world on the internet. 100,000 likes for the man who's a felon. You remember that? With a rap sheet. Just one reason many are wondering if he should be getting this kind of attention.
A controversial meme in 2014 involved a mugshot of a man who was super hot to a lot of people.
Dude, this guy is hot with a capital H. He is serving in this mugshot. His eyes are smoldering. His lips are pillowy.
Jeremy Ray Meeks was his name, and he was arrested during a gang sweep in Stockton, California, and his mugshot went viral.
Yeah, I totally remember this going around, and everyone was absolutely obsessed. I went to an all-girl high school, so obviously all the girls were smitten over a criminal like this.
Yeah, I feel like this is when, like, really we're starting to get an idea as to how impactful the internet can be and how it can just make you famous overnight and give you a modeling career out of nowhere.
He got his modeling career launched in 2016 after this. I'm pretty sure he was rearrested. So we're going to have to take a peek at what that mugshot looks like now.
I am firmly team no mugshot, so I have a hard time finding anyone attractive in their mugshot. But I've also seen that this has become a kind of a trend on TikTok. Like, people get out of prison and they share their like prison stories. And there's a lot of like really thirsty women in the comment sections for these prisoners. And I feel like it's maybe taken that whole like bad boy thing a little too far.
Mount Vernon Square filled with demonstrators who were peaceful, some angry, and some weary.
I'm just tired. I mean, how many times does it have to happen where you just stay on the sideline and not do anything? Something needs to be done. We have to let those in power know that we're not going to take this anymore.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot was a phrase that became a popular rallying cry after the shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri in August 2014.
It was supposed to show a sign of submission, you know. My hands are in the air. Please don't shoot me. I don't have a weapon on me. And it's therefore not a threat to an approaching police officer. However, for Michael Brown, he had his hands up and he was unfortunately murdered by police.
This was really kind of the start of the first like Black Lives Matter public protests and the start of a lot of really important conversations that unfortunately we're still having today. Yeah,
I mean, it was a complicating time for me because on one hand, I'm like, oh, wow, we're like rallying together. We're like we're unifying in this cause. And also I'm like, why did it take so long? Like, this isn't the first person and it definitely wasn't the last. So it was just ever since it's just like this thing inside of me that's just like, come on, like why do we have to keep on doing this? Why do we have to keep on making this a point? And why do we have to keep proving how important and how many people are affected by this?
My dad, who is a retired police officer, who was an officer in Chicago at the time, definitely had to go through some changes and protocols at work. So some things have changed, but we still have a very, very, very long way to go.
As a teacher, I remember a lot of news articles and press surrounding what was happening in Ferguson, were coming out. My students wanted to talk about it. And it was an interesting opportunity for Socratic dialogues and classroom discussions about things that a lot of kids here in, Arizona maybe hadn't really dealt with or hadn't really talked about before. So it was an opportunity to open up to some different perspectives. Unfortunately, still dealing with these issues today.
Does anybody embody the decade more than singer, actor, fashion icon Lady Gaga? The answer? No. In the year of Our Lady Gaga, 2014, she collaborated with Tony Bennett on a jazz album called Cheek to Cheek, for which they went on to win a Grammy for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album. Revealed on the Howard Stern show that she had been raped by a record producer at 19, and went on the Art Pop Ball Tour. And that's the year of Our Lady Gaga, 2014 edition. Blessed be.
It was just a fucking car, just a fucking dog. Just a dog. Vigo. Yeah. When Ellen died, I lost everything. Until that dog arrived on my doorstep. A final gift from my wife. In that moment, I received some semblance of hope. An opportunity to grieve unalone. And your son took that from me. Stole that from me. Killed that from me! People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. So you can either hand over your son, or you can die screaming alongside him!
John Wick starred Keanu Reeves in a movie where the dog definitely dies.
I went years without watching this movie because the dog dies, and you know I ain't about that.
I went watching this movie thinking it was about a dog, but I don't think it was. I think it was just more about just cool action scenes and seeing people kick ass.
Every time it's on the TV, it's on our TV. So I've seen it plenty of times. It's actually a great movie. I definitely close my eyes also when the dog dies because it's a cute dog and you never want to see that.
Yeah, these movies are super violent. I'm grateful to the John Wick franchise because I feel like it brought Keanu Reeves like really back into the mainstream, and we probably wouldn't be getting another Matrix without the success of them. And I've somehow landed on Keanu TikTok, and a lot of people absolutely love him.
I finally sat down and watched the movie and just closed my eyes during that scene, and I freaking love John Wick.
The 2 sequels to this one were actually really good.
People keep asking me if I'm back, and I haven't known what to say. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Third Down for What was a smash hit for Lil Jon and DJ Snake in 2014.
It was called the year's nutsiest party jam and the perfect protest banger for a generation fed up by literally everything by Rolling Stone.
I've listened to that song many a time and not once thought, this is a protest banger. But it does remind me very much so of high school dances. Like I would chaperone, prom back in 2014. And it was like, everyone's dancing and whatever, but then Turn Down for What comes on and the whole place just loses it. It's like the floor started shaking. So it's still a bop.
Yeah, this is that turn up song that I had to switch to once I started feeling guilty for listening to the YOLO song. This was that new one.
I remember just going to my high school homecomings and this coming on and just being the anthem of the night, and everyone just got into it and obviously turned down for what?
I just realized that I could have been chaperoning Nicole's high school dances.
Yeah! Okay!
Is this the morning of my wedding?
Man, I'm gonna be at the altar.
It's the big day.
There's no turning back.
And they've never met.
Hello, nice to meet you, husband.
I know nothing about her.
Are you serious?
Can the professionals
What do you want in your partner?
Is sex important?
arrange happily ever after?
This is a one-time deal.
This is a big risk, but with great risk sometimes comes great reward.
Married at First Sight was a reality show and social experiment that used professional matchmakers to pair up total strangers who were then married right after they met. Based on a Danish TV show. The couple spent their wedding night in a hotel right before going on their honeymoon.
It sounds like a night out at the bar.
It's like that episode of Friends with Ross and Rachel where they get drunk and accidentally get married.
So apparently they had to live together as a married couple for 8 weeks and then decided if they wanted to stay married after that. I really want to know how much sex these couples were having in that 8 weeks and if that determined if any of them stayed together.
I was surprised to see that there was a 30% success rate. Like 13 couples are still married today from that show, which if you think of it that way, it's almost like just as likely as any other marriage. I mean, if the divorce rate is like over 50% nationally, like why not give it a whirl?
It's working because it's still running on Lifetime and there are other versions of the show in dozens of countries.
Yeah, I don't know if I could personally ever do this where I just meet someone and have to marry them.
I have been in heavily lustful, let's take this to the other room at first sight.
My husband and I, if this was us, we would not have lasted. So I friend zoned him real hard for like a long time. He earned it. And he knows that. So if he's listening, he's not offended. He knows.
There will always be a special place in my heart for the movie musical and for the songs that create their most memorable moments. Here to perform the Oscar-nominated, gorgeously empowering song, Let It Go, from the Oscar-winning animated movie Frozen, please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
So the world had a really good laugh at John Travolta in 2014 when he introduced Idina Menzel incorrectly at the Oscars as Adele Dazeem.
Menzel was getting ready to perform Let It Go from Frozen at the Oscars.
You mean that's not Adele that we all know?
I think he just had trouble reading her name off of the teleprompter and just kind of made something up off the top of his head. But it went immediately viral. And honestly, I think Adele Dazeem is a beautiful name.
I thought this was so funny that I didn't let it go for like a really long time after it stopped being funny.
I'm sorry, you didn't let it go?
So I was the one that like a year later where I'm like, you guys remember Adele Dazeem? Or someone would be like, oh, I love Wicked. And I'm like, me too with Adele Dazeem. Bah, ha, ha.
At least it wasn't an award he was presenting, because that would have been awkward. What if Adele and Adina walked up together thinking it was them?
I think Idina Menzel and Adele should absolutely collaborate on a song and release it under the moniker Adele Dazeem.
In the 2010s, Marvel dominated cinema, releasing epic blockbusters every year. This is the Marvel Minute for 2014. In Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Cap teams up with the Falcon and Black Widow to fight Hydra, which has infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and a mysterious assassin called the Winter Soldier. Guardians of the Galaxy was an outer space adventure amped up by 70s rock tunes. X-Men: The Days of Future Past showed us the X-Men in 2 different timelines. And The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield brought us Jamie Foxx as Electro in an otherwise underwhelming sequel.
New break in a case involving a massive invasion of privacy for some big stars, including Jennifer Lawrence and Kate Upton. Hackers broke into their accounts, stole nude pictures, and then leaked them onto the internet.
In 2014, Apple's iCloud service was hacked, which led to the leak of private pictures of celebrities, including nudes.
Most of the photos that were leaked were of women, and it was called the fappening, which, ew.
Well, I just realized that the fappening wasn't an act, that it was this thing that you guys were talking about. Because I was like, oh yeah, I was fappening for a long time. And now I realize what it actually means.
I will tell you that, like, not saying that my Google photo account has, explicit images, but just the idea of like my pictures being leaked, it's like so invasive and so scary. It's like one of my biggest fears with like anything on the cloud is just that anybody could have access to, like my personal photos. So I remember when this happened, I was just mortified on behalf of these celebrities who took these pictures in confidence that they were not meant for the public.
I remember Jennifer Lawrence, Kate Upton, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ariana Grande, like so many people had their pictures leaked.
I feel like it was weird that it was most women, because I feel men are the ones that take more dick pics than women taking nudes of themselves.
I remember there being a outcry of, well, if they didn't want their pictures leaked, they shouldn't have taken nudes in the first place. And how dare you? Like, this is their private information. They had no idea these were going to be leaked. I mean, like, any of us could have nudes on our phones right now. Any of you listening probably have a nude or 2 on your phone. And you shouldn't stop taking them because somebody else is an asshole and hacked your shit.
Pharrell's Happy had us all bopping in 2014 when it became a massive hit, and immediately became the most overplayed song in all of the century.
I remember Happy playing at like church functions, and they taught us some like super cheesy choreography to it that I had to dance with the youth. And there's nothing worse than seeing like a gaggle of young white Christians dancing to Happy by Pharrell. And I've been traumatized ever since.
I am not a fan of Happy. I am a NERD and Neptunes fan. And so when Pharrell came out with this, I immediately wanted him to keep singing about all the girlies standing in the line for the bathroom.
I definitely got tired of the song really quick. Instead of making me happy, it made me angry, and I had to twerk so I can feel happy again.
I remember when it came out, and I actually liked it at first, but then, yes, it became way overplayed. And now when I think of Pharrell, I just think of his famous hat.
It always makes me sad when artists like Pharrell and Gwen Stefani just become judges on The Voice or release music like this. It instantly, like, I want you to go back to your filthy music that made me like you.
Before we say goodbye to this year, let's take a moment to remember what we lost in 2014. We like to say rest in peace to the following: How I Met Your Mother disappointed everyone in its final year. David Letterman and Craig Ferguson said goodbye to late night television. The ISIS mobile wallet became a cautionary tale. Don't name your products after terrorist groups. Actor Philip Seymour Hoffman And we all lost a bit of our childhood when beloved actor Robin Williams died, who among other roles played Genie in Aladdin. Genie, you're free. And that's a list of who and what we lost in 2014. It always hurts to say goodbye.
That wraps up Pop Culture Junkie's I Love the 2010s, year 2014. Catch you in 2015.
We love the 2010s.
2015 is the year that gave us these important questions. Did that new Star Wars movie ruin your childhood? Was Alexander Hamilton the hottest founding father? Just what color was that stupid dress anyway? Pop Culture Junkie presents...
We love the 2010s.
We went in and, she heard the track and she was like, yo, I think it was probably the last track that I played. She was like, yo, Dad, why you holding out? So she went in the booth and, she started freestyling. And I believe the first words was, bitch better have my money.
Rihanna's Bitch Better Have My Money came out in 2015.
Yeah, it was written to be a club banger, but I feel like this was also one of those words of affirmation that people would tell themselves just to get things done. I'm going to do this, but bitch better have my money.
If your friend owes you gas money, you just kind of send them a gif of bitch better have my money.
I totally remember this song, and definitely wasn't a banger in the club for me just yet because I was too young, but was definitely a banger in the car.
I also appreciate it because it's one of those things that kind of sets forth the desire to be an entrepreneur or a businessman at a young age. I'm thinking of those high school kids and they're like, you know what? I got to strive for these bitches giving me my money.
This song is just about capitalism. Better have my money.
My memories of this song come from high school, but from teaching high school and the students walking around saying it to each other about things like whatever, lunch money and stuff, and me having to constantly remind them to not use explicit language in the classroom.
Were you were like one of those kids with the lemonade stand and you was like, 25-cent lemonade, bitch better have my money.
The music video featured Rihanna torturing Mads Mikkelsen, which was kind of cool.
And I feel like it spawned a lot of memes.
A bitch better have my money. Lemonade, get your lemonade.
It's been an absolute privilege. It's been the honor of my professional life. And I thank you for watching it, for hate watching it. Whatever reason you were tuning in for, you get in this business with the idea that maybe you have a point of view and something to express, and to receive feedback from that is the greatest feeling you can ask for. And I thank you.
There was quite a shakeup in late night around 2015 when Jon Stewart left The Daily Show in the hands of Trevor Noah, and Stephen Colbert took over for David Letterman, abandoning The Colbert Report.
Man, this happened right when Trump started running for president, something that Jon Stewart would have had to cover every single day, but I feel like he would have done such a good job at it. I am a huge Jon Stewart fangirl, but I'm also completely obsessed with Trevor Noah, so I was okay with this.
This was about the time that I kind of quit watching late night because Conan had left late night and gone to do his own thing, but a lot of the late night hosts started changing around, like Fallon and Myers came in, and John Oliver took over, which I absolutely love. And I was glad that Stephen Colbert took over for David Letterman because I felt like Letterman was past his prime. Whatever his prime was, it was long gone, and it was time for someone to take over.
I was such a Colbert Report fan, and I can't watch Stephen Colbert as the host of Late Night. He just isn't as raw and funny and sarcastic and inappropriate as he used to be. He just seems so sugar-coated now. It kind of breaks my heart.
I don't really watch late night. I'm always asleep by the time that it comes on. If anything, I'll watch highlights on YouTube.
I feel like the way people interact with those shows now is so different than it used to be, because when I was younger, I remember staying up specifically to watch a musician on Leno or whatever. And now I can't remember the last time I actually tuned in live to watch one of these shows. Even when the Killers were on Jimmy Kimmel, I was like, I'll just catch it on YouTube the next day.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really watched a late night show, but I still always wanted to have my own. I didn't know what they were doing, but I knew they were talking at night when, I might be sleeping or turning up.
Trevor Noah has an incredible autobiography for anybody who wants to learn more about him called Born a Crime, about his life being born in South Africa during apartheid and having a black mom and a white dad and how it was against the law at the time and just his life. It's hilarious. It is sad. I laughed. I cried. There's a hilarious story about poop. Go read this book.
The Jedi were real.
I used to wonder about that myself. Thought it was a bunch of mumbo jumbo. A magical power holding together good and evil, the dark side and the light. Crazy thing is, it's true. The Force, the Jedi, all of it. It's all true.
Star Wars The Force Awakens was the long-promised 7th movie in the Star Wars franchise. It starred Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, and John Boyega, along with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher.
I might be having a little hot take here, but I absolutely love the Star Wars sequels, but probably because I'm a big Reylo shipper. So all 3 of those films was just space sexual tension for me.
There's been a lot of backlash about these movies, especially with the kind of misrepresentation of John Boyega's character and the controversy that surrounded his involvement in the sequels. I feel like J.J. Abrams really did just kind of recycle a lot from the original films and put it into The Force Awakens. But I'm still glad that this movie exists because it brought Star Wars land to Disney parks, and that's like my favorite thing in the entire world. I would go live there if I could.
The Force Awakens is definitely my favorite film out of the 3 sequels, and John Boyega, it makes it part of that. Finn is just such a likable character, and in the beginning, I really wanted him and Rey to be together, and then the next 2 movies, they just absolutely have no idea what to do with him, and he becomes not important in the slightest, which is terrible.
I think that the sequels would have been better off had they left Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill out of it. I feel like it messed with our childhoods in a way that none of us really wanted. And I know it was Harrison Ford's wish to die in this film, but I really wish I could have gone to my grave never seeing, Han Solo and Princess Leia divorced and miserable and then eventually dead.
You're picking up Alexander Hamilton, this big tome. When did it strike you that, wow, this is musical theater?
End of the second chapter. That's at the end of the second chapter. It reads like a Dickens novel.
In 2015, Hamilton, the racially diverse, singing, rapping musical about a little-known founding father, was the show everybody wanted tickets to.
Yeah, this musical was catchy songs about boring history dudes.
Yeah, I have not personally seen it, but I've definitely heard the soundtrack, and I actually really liked it. It's totally not something that I'm into, like these types of things, musicals, plays, just not my thing, but because of the soundtrack, I definitely would see it.
I became obsessed with Hamilton over the course of the last year when it hit Disney Plus, because you could never get tickets to it. So everyone always talked about it, and I didn't know anything about it. And I always thought, oh, there's no way this is going to live up to the hype. And then when I got to watch it from the comfort of my own couch, I fell in love with it. And I actually got the opportunity to see Hamilton at Gamage this year when it came on tour.
I feel like Hamilton was an opportunity to see things that I have never seen before, like as a Black person or even just like an Afro-Caribbean Dominican person. Like I've never seen people like me do a musical, because we know Rent, and I've seen like, The Wizard of Oz and all these like big musicals everybody knows. And even West Side Story was still a bunch of white people. And this was kind of that time like, oh, let's take the American story and like make it ours. Because however much this country sucks, it's still our country. And to kind of be able to take that perspective and have people, and essentially the people that were oppressed throughout the history of this country, to then take on those personalities and tell this story, I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm like a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda stan. I know people kind of either love him or hate him, but I think he's a genius. And despite Hamilton having its flaws, which it definitely does have, it's been successful for a reason. It's revolutionary as far as the way it tells the story and the cast and the music. And I love it. If you haven't seen Hamilton, you can stream it on Disney Plus right now. It's well worth your time.
Apple Watch is the most personal
device we've ever created. We set out to make the best watch in the world.
Apple continued to try to tether humanity to their products by introducing the Apple Watch in 2015.
It was the best-selling wearable device. By 2020, an estimated 100 million people used one. I still don't have one.
I love mine. I just got the new one. I have the Series 7, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it is one of the greatest inventions ever because I can answer my text messages, phone calls right on my wrist, and I don't need to have my phone directly on me.
I am more of a Fitbit fangirl. Not sure why. Makes me feel like I'm healthy even though I'm eating cheeseburgers and drinking beer all the time.
I never got into Apple, period. So I have all the Android products, and I know like Samsung put out like the Galaxy version of the Apple Watch, and there's been a lot of competitors, but I feel like every time I go look at a smartwatch, I know in my head it's not the Apple Watch, and so I don't bother buying it because it's not going to have all the bells and whistles of the Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's when I realized that the future was here. Like, we're now wearing our technology.
It's like Dick Tracy when they used to talk into his watch, and it was all like science fiction back then, but now we're living in that reality.
The National Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show.
In the 2015 Super Bowl, one of Katy Perry's costume backup dancers became an internet sensation.
So it was during the halftime show, and Katy Perry was singing Teenage Dream in kind of like a beach aesthetic, and she was backed up by two dancers in shark costumes. The shark on the left kind of didn't quite understand the choreography as well as the shark on the right did, and thus we dubbed him Left Shark.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people that year went as Left Shark for Halloween. You were always seeing a shark just walking around.
It immediately started trending on Twitter. A bunch of memes were born out of Left Shark.
I mean, that's a cool costume. I don't remember that for some reason.
Yeah, Left Shark was revealed to be hairstylist Brian Gaw, who said there's set choreography and there's also what's called freestyle choreography, where you just get to move around and play your character. And I'm in a 7-foot blue shark costume. There's no cool in that. So what's the other option? I'm going to play a different character.
Well, first of all, it's a hairstylist. They just put a shark costume on him. Like, he probably had to, like, do everybody's hair, and then they're like, oh, my God, we can't find our shark. And then they just threw it on him.
The costume will fit that guy.
It's a huge meme that's going on Instagram. You guys have seen it, right? Like, yo, what's up, Ma? You know, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. You down to Netflix and chill?
2015 was the year Netflix and chill meant anything but that.
So when you Netflix and chill with somebody, you invite them over to your house to maybe start watching Netflix for about 20 minutes and then have sex instead.
My favorite part of the Netflix and chill trend was that it started popping up on like Walmart t-shirts and stuff. And then like your grandma would use it, but not really know what it meant and think it genuinely just meant like watching TV. And so people would be posting like Netflix and chilling with my cousins. And you're like, oh gosh, no, stop. What are you doing?
I was one of the people that were actually Netflix and chilling at the time. I was in a long distance relationship and we would Netflix at the same time and chill.
I have definitely Netflix and chilled in my day. There's many half-watched movies on my queue.
What are the best shows or movies to Netflix and chill to?
I think the best movie or show to Netflix and chill to is something that you know you're not going to be heavily invested in. You don't want to put on like something with subtitles that you're going to want to read over their heads.
Or something that's going to make you laugh.
Something that's going to make you laugh or cry.
Do you think after Netflix and chill became so popular is when Netflix was like, are you still watching?
Does anybody embody the decade more than singer, actor, fashion icon Lady Gaga? The answer? No. In the year of Our Lady Gaga, 2015, she got engaged to actor Tyler Kinney. I remember that relationship. Was named Billboard's Woman of the Year, appeared on American Horror Story Hotel, and performed a Sound of Music tribute at the Academy Awards. And that's the year of Our Lady Gaga, 2015 edition. Blessed be.
What was he like?
He was polite, intense, smart, really intimidating. Do you have any interests outside of work?
What about you? I'd like to know more about you.
There's really not much to know about me. Look at me.
I am.
50 Shades of Grey, the movie, finally brought the mom porn bestseller to our screen in 2015.
So it starred Jamie Dornan as Christian and Dakota Johnson as Anna, but Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart were considered for the roles, seeing as it was based on a Twilight fan fiction, but they turned them down.
See, I thought this movie was so sexual that I went onto Pornhub to watch this, and I was upset because it definitely shouldn't belong on this website. I just went through the entire thing and just paused it, just stopped and went to real porn.
I'm not going to lie because I did the exact same thing. I looked up clips of this movie to see how hot it was, and there's no insertion to be seen.
I steered clear of the films as well as the books. All I did was Google like the worst parts of the books so I could laugh at them. And then I was disappointed to find out that some of those horrific scenes from the novels didn't even make it into the movie.
It was almost rated NC-17, and it was banned from some countries for sadistic sexual content.
This movie came out around Valentine's Day, and my students were all going on dates to go see it. And I was mortified that it was happening because my students were like 15.
So would you consider this a Netflix and chill movie? Because they are chilling a lot in this movie.
Maybe only if you're trying to reenact some of the things you see on screen.
You know what's sadistic about 50 Shades of Grey is that if Christian was not wealthy, it would be an episode of Law & Order SVU.
Watch me whip, watch me nay-nay. In 2015, the song Watch Me from Silento went viral, thanks in part to the music video.
This was that move where you just like whip your arm up in the sky and then nay-nay left to right.
I was only obsessed with the song because the part Nene is literally my initials. So I was like, this song is named after me, so I will support it.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. Us white folks love songs that tell us how to dance. So being able to watch the music video and knowing what to do, we were all about it. It was like Soulja Boy all over again.
It was the second most popular music video of all time, so that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, and then you find out that you can nay-nay on absolutely anything, whether you are wiping down your car, cleaning your mirror. You can just nay-nay, say hi to somebody, nay-nay. Maybe it is Nene. And then she's like, how you know my name?
Silento, he's a one-hit wonder with a song. And actually this year, a grand jury indicted him on 4 felony charges, including malice murder, formally accusing him of shooting his cousin to death earlier this year.
Eli really did a number, Johnny. He took everything. They're still looking for him. They think he's in the Caymans.
He was our business manager. He's supposed to pay taxes.
There is a very small amount set aside for you, and one asset the government has allowed you to retain.
Schitt's Creek premiered on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in 2015. This started off as a small show carried on the CBC and then on Pop TV, and then it hit Netflix.
Man, I caught on to Schitt's Creek late, and I still haven't finished it, but it forever changed the meaning of fold in the cheese for me. Not that I did a lot of baking.
It swept the Comedy Awards and the 2020 Emmys, among other awards, like GLAAD, SAG, and the Critics' Choice.
It's notable for its portrayal of a pansexual character and for being a comedy with a lot of heart.
I think one of the best parts about Schitt's Creek, one of the star and creator, Dan Levy, has said that they wanted to create this town where there was no concept of prejudice. And so when a character is gay or pansexual or anything related to their, not just their sexuality, but their identity as a person, everybody is supportive and understanding. And there's not even a hint of surprise or shock or confusion. There's no having to learn about it or come to terms with it. It's every day. It's mundane. And to me, that was a huge breath of fresh air because I'd never seen anything like that on TV.
I did like how he explained being pansexual to his friend at one point, though. She's like, I thought you liked red wine, but it seems like you might like white wine. It's like, sometimes I like red. Sometimes I like white. Sometimes I like rosés. I like the wine and not the label.
I will be forever grateful to my sister for saying, have you seen this show? And thankfully, we started watching it right at the very beginning in season 1.
Hey, stop! Little girl, stop! Look, I need to borrow your hoverboard.
In Back to the Future Part 2, Marty time travels to 2015, where he has a real hoverboard that he rides like a flying skateboard. Around 2015, we were introduced to a poor substitute, the self-balancing scooter.
Oh my gosh, this thing. I remember going to like family holidays and like the little cousins would be riding these things around and just crashing and burning. Or actually, rather, they did pretty good at it and then I gave it a try and I crashed and burned.
They were literally crashing and burning these things at a certain time. I remember these little kids, they were like 5, they were like over here being pros, eating their juice, going down the mall, like in these random places. And I'm just like, I don't have one.
And are we surprised really that Mark Cuban is the one who bought the patents in China? I mean, literally out of everyone on this planet, I feel like Mark Cuban would just be the first person that would pop in your head for something like this.
I always wanted to ride one of these, but then I remember my like feeble attempt at learning how to ride Heelys back in the day when I was a kid and the balance required for that. And I took one look at that hoverboard and was like, I will crack my head open. It is not happening.
The only thing we got from Back to the Future Part 2 were the sneakers.
In the 2010s, Marvel dominated cinema, releasing epic blockbusters every year. This is the Marvel Minute for 2015. The Avengers assembled to fight a new threat in Age of Ultron. Paul Rudd brought Ant-Man to life. Marvel continued to make good television with Agent Carter on ABC and Daredevil and Jessica Jones on Netflix. And gave us a weak-ass reboot of the Fantastic Four.
That darn dress, you know the one I'm talking about. It's been inescapable today, dividing the world between those who see white and gold and those who see blue and black.
In 2015, a simple photo of a dress on Facebook sparked a hashtag civil war. Was it white and gold or blue and black?
I see white and gold.
That dress is blue and black, and you will never be able to convince me otherwise.
See white and gold, and it's now blue and black.
I absolutely 200% see white and gold.
I see white and gold. I see white and gold, and then it turns into blue and black.
I am shook, you guys. That dress is black and blue. I will throw down right now.
The only thing black and blue is your heart, Shauna.
Yeah, so a woman posted a picture of a dress that she planned to wear at her daughter's wedding. And then nobody could agree on what color it was.
So this went viral the weekend of my wedding. And I was so happy because I remember thinking, gosh, I hope nothing bad happens in the news the weekend of my wedding because I'll always associate that date. And the fact that this is what happened the weekend of my wedding just made me so happy. And we spent a lot of time arguing about this at my rehearsal dinner.
I think it's interesting because obviously it sparked this huge debate, but it proved that our perception of color is not the same. And I remember being a kid and being like, what if my blue is your green? And we don't see things the same way, but we're never going to know because you just learned it as blue or whatever, right? And we just learned the name, but it's never the same. And then when this happened, I was like, dude, it's confirmed. We're all living in like weird parallel universes where we don't see things the same way. And I've honestly never been the same. I've never thought of things the same since the dress dilemma.
The dress was later confirmed to be black and blue, so you can all suck it.
Before we say goodbye to this year, let's take a moment to remember what we lost in 2015. We like to say rest in peace to the following. Grey's Anatomy killed off McDreamy. How could you do that to us? I nearly cried myself to sleep. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani each ended their marriages so they could be together. Parks and Recreation, Mad Men, and Key and Peele all called it a day. Bobby Christina Brown's too short life ended. And we lost Leonard Nimoy. Live long and prosper, Mr. Spock. And that's a list of who and what we lost in 2015. It always hurts to say goodbye.
That wraps up Pop Culture Junkies. We love the 2010s, year 2015. Catch you in 2016.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group.